Today, we are making picadillo. I'm going to start with a sofrito. Sofrito is like mirepoix is to French cuisine. It's gonna be your aromatic to start many Latin dishes, especially Puerto Rican dishes. So in my sofrito, I have my onion, my green pepper, and garlic. Lots of garlic always. What's great about sofrito is that, like my grandfather used to do, you make it and it's extremely easy and quick, and then you can freeze it actually in an ice cube tray. So I'm just gonna do kind of like a rough chop. I'm actually cutting it a little more than I even have to here. Just get it so it fits in your food processor. I have a KitchenAid over here. My mom used to use an Osterizer. It was like 30 years old and it still did amazing. It's funny, they don't make them like that anymore. Then I have my onion. Oh, cilantro, not yet, not your turn. And I'm going to mince my onion. I love picadillo because it is a really affordable dish. It's gonna feed your whole family plus some. And if you don't have access to fresh produce, you can make this dish and get your veggies in for your kids. Then I'm gonna do a rough chop on this. And then I have my cilantro. I love cilantro. Oh my gosh, if you're one of those people who taste something soapy, I feel bad for you, first of all. Second of all, you can use parsley if you wanna make something that's indicative of this, that's fine. I won't tell, I won't really like it, but I won't tell. So I'm gonna pick that, ba-da-ba-da-ba. I do that and then I go back and I pick the little stragglers. I think it's faster to do that, personally. And I'm not afraid to get some of the stems in, honestly. And now I have this thing, so cool. It was a wedding present from somebody who clearly really loves me. But it's like a little processor. And it has a little, it has a blade right there and you just stuff all this stuff in. Oh my gosh, where's my garlic? I just sounded like a Michigander. Oh my gosh. So it might be long, I have my garlic and I'm going to put a little bit of salt and pepper and a little bit of olive oil, also known as amaro and pesto. And you just mash it. Now, I'm not gonna just finish it in there. I'm gonna add a little bit to my food processor, but most of the time you mash it really nicely and that's good enough in there. Now I have this gadget. And just keep going until it's a nice cohesive mixture and it's nice and minced. Sorry, Mom, you didn't have that gadget when you were making this. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. It looks really good. It's super robust. So that's done. Let's get to our picadillo. So my oil's about 350. I'm gonna start frying my potatoes. The potatoes you're going to add last. Again, picadillo varies with country, with region, with tradition. Okay, your grandma versus my grandma, like in a fight and like with picadillo. I do the potatoes at the end so they stay crispy. That's what my grandmother always did. And you're just gonna let these rock. You'll see them start to brown. I have already made my rice. All right, so these puppies are going. We're getting this nice and heated up. Let's grab our oil and our ingredients. You're gonna start with olive oil. So this is my great-grandmother Anna's caldero. It has been in our family for decades and decades and decades. This is the pot that I first remember ever when I was standing on a chair next to her cooking in her kitchen when she was making pastelillos, and I'll teach you how to make that later, so subscribe and like. So we're gonna get that nice and heated up. You wanna make sure the pot's hot because your meat's not gonna be beautiful, sexy, Maillard reaction brown necessarily, but you want it to be brown enough. You don't want it to be gray. And then once we go into the pot, I'm going to season with my adobo and season with my sazon, and we'll go from there. I love this pot. I make fajitas in it. I do all kinds of things. I've even made my Sunday gravy with it. It's just very versatile, and it's giant. So when you wanna feed a lot of people, this will be the thing that you use. So yeah, we're gonna brown this. I just wanna let this brown a little bit more before I add the rest of my stuff. So my meat blend is majoritively beef, and then I did add a little bit of pork into it. I've seen people who do it with just pork. I've seen people who add everything all together, including the potatoes. I think there was gold in there. It is gold. It's really good. I even put it on my pizza. A little sazon. I do one whole packet. Seems like a lot of seasoning, but it's raw meat. It's gonna be fine. Awesome. Our potatoes are starting to crisp up a little bit. This is good. Crispy potatoes, guys. Nobody likes a limp, slimy potato. Nasty. We're getting some good color here. You see I'm just breaking up the meat as it cooks. Smelling some really delicious things going on in this pot. Most of the meat is brown, so I'm gonna add my sofrito. 1, 2, 3. So what I do is, 4. I add a tablespoon of sofrito to each pound of meat that I did. I did 4 pounds, so I did 4 tablespoons of sofrito. Yay, my potatoes are getting happy now. I am gonna add cooking ham, salted cooking ham into this dish. Some people don't, and honestly, I don't think my grandmother did, but sorry, Yaya. I really like the flavor that cooking ham brings to a dish. I put it in my mixed meat for my pastelillos. It adds a nice little exterior texture in there as well. Now I'm going to add my tomato sauce and my alcaparado. Alcaparado is a mix of capers, manzanillo, olives, and pimentos. And it has a really nice variant texture in there, as well as a nice briny flavor it adds to the dish. You'll see this used a lot. Now I'm just gonna let this ride until you don't see the tomato sauce anymore and it kind of dissipates. And I will get these potatoes out because I think they're done. Pretty potatoes over here. Nice crispy potatoes. And you're gonna season them right on the plate. I find that when the potato is still hot and something that you fry is still, fresh out of the oil, it's still more porous than it would be when it's cool. So it's gonna take that flavor really nicely, or the seasoning rather. You wanna lower this down to a simmer once you let it kind of bubble for 2-3 minutes. You don't want your meat to overcook, but you do want your tomato sauce to dissipate. Oh, the smell I'm getting off of this pot, it's just, you can smell the onion, the aromatics, and the garlic are simmering nicely. The meat is giving off a beautiful aroma as well. You can actually smell the olives, the brininess of the olives starting to develop, which is really cool. Little salt and pepper. All right, that's going. So I guess, I don't know, I could do a little dance. I love this kind of food. It's actually, I think I'm gonna, whoops. All right, now we're going to add our carrots. So my mom used to use canned carrots, peas, and corn. I used fresh carrots because I had access to them. I was shopping at like 10 o'clock last night. Didn't have access to corn, fresh snap peas. So I just used canned for both of those. And I'm gonna throw them in now. I did pre-blanch these, so they are al dente. Little crunchy, but not raw. And my corn. And my peas. And now the colors really come to life. You can see why we loved this as a kid. This kind of dish, you'll keep eating it and it'll taste good and you'll be full and then you'll just keep eating and eating and eating. It's just one of those things. All right, let's taste it to see if we need to season it any more. You guys, it's perfectly seasoned. The meat's perfectly cooked. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but toot toot. Now I guess I'm gonna plate it. We could do slow-mo from the potatoes, tosh tosh, boom spoon.
Heard the big bags overseas, then we gon' go, go, go. Whoa, I press the button and the doors go off like, whoa. That money clip us now, that new now looks like, whoa. Upgrade her diamonds, now her girlfriends are like, whoa, 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 whoa. I press the button and the doors go off like, whoa. That money clip us now, that new now looks like, whoa.
So as you can see, I put my picadillo over rice. Rice, it's something very easy to make, but it's something very easy to f up. Don't f it up. So now let's taste this. I love garnishing with a little fresh herb. The cilantro is really awesome. Nice and herbaceous, nice and punch filled. The carrots are nice and al dente. The corn is still crunchy as well. That's a big thing for me in picadillo. The meat is not dry, but it's definitely structurally sound, very flavorful, well seasoned, if I might say so myself. Potatoes, nice little pockets of crunch as well. This is just a great dish, guys. You don't always have to cook something fancy. You don't always have to cook something using these expensive ingredients. This is gonna feed your whole family very inexpensively. Not everybody is fortunate enough to have access to fresh produce and high-end ingredients. This is gonna be a great dish. Cheers.